Okay, can everybody hear me now? Okay,
Yeah.
good evening to everybody here in person and on Zoom. Am I on there?
You're good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we hear you.
For everybody who Zoom, if you'll please make sure you're muted at the moment. That way we don't have any extra sound coming through. And thank you tonight for Bill Williams. He's handling all of this audio and video stuff. Zach is at home. I think he's got a sick wife and he's taking care of some kids. And Robin is going to be very kind and she's going to be taking notes for us, Zach. So if you don't get a chance to do that while you're watching everybody, Robin's going to take care of us. So thank you everybody for joining us, whether you're on Zoom or you're here in person. I am Michelle Theisen. I'm currently the president of the Fort Worth Astronomical Society. And I think we may be without a raffle tonight. Phil and Pam are delayed. Apparently there's a large accident that's causing a traffic problem. And speaking of traffic, those of you who are here in person, there's something going on at the Dickies Stadium. So when you leave, stock show. So you may want to go down University to get back to 30 instead of going down Montgomery and hitting any traffic coming through that way. And I never can't figure out their cone system anyway to figure out which lane to get into. Yeah, I know. It's not good when you can't figure it out. Do we have anybody here this evening in person or on Zoom who's here for the first time? Let's go for those in person first. I thought I saw a new face. Hold on a second. We've actually got a traveling mic. And you'll have to give us a little bit of time. I know we're still, it's this lady right here.
Hello. Oh, this is cool. My name is Aminetta, and I looked online and I saw this and I thought it would be cool. So I came to see. I don't know anything about astronomy, so I'm excited.
Welcome. And you've got all sorts of people in this club who can help you learn. And we have everybody in our club, from those who just like to go out and look at the stars and the constellations, to those who have the telescopes. We have some who use only binoculars. You know, we have all those astrophotographers and all that. So yeah, anything you would want to do, we can help you with. Is there anybody out there on Zoom that might be new that hasn't been joining us before? Okay, I didn't think that was usual, but I thought I'd check. We do have some new members who've joined us since November. In December, we had our Christmas party. So the last meeting we had here at UNT was in November. And since that time, we've had these members join. If you're here tonight, hold up your hand. Even if you're on Zoom, you've got your video on, hold up your hand. There's Tony Taylor, Bill Barnes, Doug Payne, Ted Smith. You are Doug Payne? Ted Smith. Okay, Ted Smith is here joining us in person. Scott Drew, Austin Butler, and then there's the Tim Harris family. So we've had quite a few people who've joined us in the last couple of months. And some of the best viewing is in the middle of the wintertime when it's nice and cold outside and dark. We do want to recognize those members of our board. We have some who are here in person. We do have some who are here on Zoom. Robert Circus is our vice president. He's here in person. John Geromini is here. Anybody who wants to become a new member, he's the one who can help you with that. Zach Smith is joining us on Zoom this evening. And then the members, he's our secretary. And then we do have our general board members. Tom Roth is here. Cy Simonson is joining us via Zoom. John Baker, and I'm not sure if he's joining us on Zoom tonight or not. And then Phil Stage, who is apparently stuck in traffic right now. So I want to say thank you to all of those board members. And a little bit later, we'll talk about how your board is organized and how you may or may not want to help out with that as we come into the elections. A little bit about the history of the club, especially for those of you who are new. The Fort Worth Astronomical Society is one of the first adult amateur astronomy societies in the United States. And it was founded by Charles Mary Noble in 1949. So that's coming up on 73 years ago. And so it's been around a while and actually formed out of a junior astronomy club. And the adults were having so much fun, they decided to form an adult club so that they could have their own fun without the kids. At the moment, we have 172 members. Hopefully it will be 173 before we leave tonight. But we do invite, as I was saying, your participation, everybody in the club. And again, we have all those varieties of people with their interests. So whatever might interest you, so there's somebody who can help you out with that. We do a lot of in-person networking, but we also have an e-group so that you can always put questions out there and somebody from the club will probably answer with the answer. And then we also want to remind you that our club is a nonprofit organization. So if you have some extra cash you would like to donate, that can be a tax deduction for you. We do have Phil. Yay, Phil has just walked in the door. So we will be able to have a raffle a little bit later. What we do is we have raffle tickets. They are normally $1 for one ticket. You can get 5 tickets for $3. And there's a variety of stuff up here that has been donated for the raffle. And, you know, it's just a matter of we draw a ticket and you get a chance to pick something. So at any time during the meeting, if you want to go get a raffle ticket or a set of 5, Phil will be happy to help you with that. John McCrae, are you here or on Zoom? I'm not seeing, and he's not on Zoom. Okay. John is in charge of our Tandy Hills outreach right now. And so those parties will start, I believe March is going to be our first one for this year. And we usually have those once a month at Tandy Hills. Patrick is here. He's in charge of our Dinosaur Valley and all of our other outreach. When did the party start in Dinosaur Valley? March the 5th. And so we'll get calendars out so you can sort of put that on your calendars for those 2 items. Do we have any other viewings, any other groups meeting this next few weeks? Okay. Again, that e-group is where you'll see invitations, and Patrick lets us know what's going on so that you can help out if it's in your neck of the woods. Is George Lutz on Zoom? Nope. Okay. George is in charge of our Prime Focus. Every month, he's been great. He's put together a newsletter for us. We usually have information. We have the minutes. We have information from other club members. So that's always a good thing to read. Okay. Next topic is normally dark sky sight. Those of you who are members, if you've read the e-group today, you probably already know this. Our particular property at Star Ranch has been sold to a new owner. And so we have a lease for the property. And so we are currently negotiating. We would like to have a little bit more time rather than less. So it will be sometime between April and July that we will no longer have access to that site. So this is something that has just happened. So we don't have a lot of details, but just so you're aware, in those next few months, we will be looking at moving off of Star Ranch. And does anybody want to have any questions they want to present now, or do you want to talk about it later? Anybody on Zoom? No questions at the moment? Okay. If you do have any, oh, hold it. All of that has been put in front of the board, so the board will be looking at our options over the next few months. And it's not like we have to have everything out of there tomorrow or next week. So we do have some time to get all of that figured out. And it may be we find a storage unit somewhere. If anybody in the club has access to one of those without much cost or can lower the cost for us, please let us know. But that is one of the options the board is looking at right now. As I say, this just happened. And so we are still negotiating and feeling things out. So. Oh, I'm sorry. For those of you who couldn't hear, since Robin didn't have a mic, she was asking what we're going to do with all of our stuff that we just moved from Thompson out to Star Ranch. And that's why we were talking about the storage unit. She was also asking about the possibility of remaining on the property. And that is still, the time limit on that is still currently being negotiated with the new owner. Ted? Can you get him the mic? I'm going to get you a mic over there so we can hear what you say. Audio difficulties. Okay.
All right, I have a garage and I'd be willing to have some of the stuff stored in that garage if you need it.
Okay, so we will put that in as an option then. Thank you. Any other questions? Again, it being so new in the process, we're just sort of digesting all of this right now. I did want to let you know, of course, right now we are, one of our things that we are looking at in relation to this is several months ago, the board did determine that we wanted to focus our energies towards Palo Pinto and the state park that is developing there. We do have a meeting out there this coming Saturday. It's a general meeting for the Friends of Palo Pinto, and we are members of that organization as a club, and several of us are members individually. And so at that point, I know Mark Smith is in charge of that particular committee, and I believe he's planning on being out there also. So we will be discussing options with the ranger. Oh, there you are. Do you want to take the mic and say anything? Okay. Meeting is at 10 o'clock and they will be hiking afterwards if weather permits. And I think the weather's going to be good, just a little on the cool side. So.
Okay, to repeat, the meeting is at 10 a.m. this Saturday, the 22nd, at Opal Guest Chapel, 321 Houston Avenue, Strawn, Texas. The speaker for the meeting is going to be, or guest speaker, is James Adams, who is the superintendent for the park. He's the guy that we've been trying to get a session with, and this came up, so this will be kind of a kickoff for us.
And there will be a couple of us or more hiking with him. So hopefully that will help to cement some relationships there. We do want to remind everybody on the Egroup, those of you who've joined as families, we do recommend that you, because of the logistics of having so many people in the Egroup as individuals, if you'll create like a Gmail account that's general for the family to receive the FWAS emails, then that can join the group and then everybody in your family can have access to that. And I think we'll have a slide up a little bit later after the presentation, but after the meeting, there's a group that normally meets at World of Beer. It's at on 3252 West 7th Street. It's just maybe 3 minutes away from here. It's not far at all. And you can just soft beer or soft drinks, beer, wine, coffee, tea and pub food. So that can be very fun in the evenings after the meeting, if anybody wants to join in that. And then Robert, do you want to go ahead and take it for the presentation?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. So the presentation for tonight, traditionally, we show photographs that the group has taken through the year. And this year it's called, did it say 2001? It's meant to be 2021. So anyway, it is 2001. Wow, talk about retro, and I'll be able to explain the retro bit. So there's 60 or so images here by various folks in our club. And can you just pause a second, Bill? So the way this will work is those, go ahead and hit escape. Okay, so those folks who have images, if they want to get up and talk about their images, they're shown on the screen about for 10 seconds each. And those that don't, no problem. And if there are people here or in the Zoom land that want to ask questions about a photo, just raise your hand. And then later on in the meeting, I'm new to astrophotography and imaging, so I'm going to talk about my experiences. And there's be a little bit of history. So anyway, take it away, Bill. Can we go back to the beginning? Okay. So starting with these images, so there'll be a label in front of each group as they change. So these are Christopher Ashford's image. And I did get the numbers right, just missing a 2. And I don't think Chris is here or online. So here's Orion. And that's about as artsy-fartsy as I get, the origami things here. So one of the things that led me into imaging is I've always been very interested in photography. And since the 70s, and I've done a lot of photography over the day. I've been published. And when I found out that my grandfather was sick with cancer, I started taking photographs of the sky at West Point. And he was really intrigued, and he was a navigator in World War II and would tell me about different things and things that he would like to see. So that's kind of what got me started. And then there was probably a 40-year gap. So now this is Robert Cargill. He's taken me under his wing. Everybody in the group here, in the APSIG group, has been very helpful. If you're interested in photography, imaging, they will help you till the cows come home. It's been great. So, and everybody's got their own different style. Am I in the way? Look, it's Jaws. It's phenomenal what you can see in the sky. It's just amazing. This is the wall in Cygnus. Jim Potts is here. So did you want to chit chat about some of these? When we get to the comment one, okay. So you'll know when we get to the comment, Bill, because yeah. Hit escape.
For those who have tried to image a comet, there's, kind of two different ways to do it. You can do really short exposures, and especially on bright comets. But the one thing that a lot of people don't realize on a comet, the comet's moving much faster than the stars. So this is kind of, it's a process to put a comet image together. This one, you can see on this image on the top, well, can't right now. But on the top image is the two kind of, you take your exposures, and then you got to, it's a bunch of different exposures. You got to stack them. And in the astropixel processor gives you two options to stack. You can stack on the stars. That's the image to the right. But if you look, the comet looks kind of weird. It's kind of the end of it's kind of oblong. Well, on the other side, what you can do, you also has a stack the comet. And what does it, you can set up parameters to try to ignore everything else. It tries to delete the stars. It doesn't delete everything, but so basically you get an image that's tracking the comet. You get an image that's tracking that's M3 cluster that by earlier this year. And then the bottom image is actually when you take these two. And with Photoshop, what I did on the image, I stacked just the comet image onto the star image. But what I did, I used a tool to kind of erase the comet from that image on the right. But the image on the bottom is the one so you get the nice trail, you get a solid comet image, and then you get M3. So it's a bit of a process, but I know some people are asking about it. But that is the difficulty, is that it is traveling. You can even see it move through you can almost see it move through the sky. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. Okay, go ahead and start the slides. Yes, please. Yeah, that's a treat getting that origami thing to work. And it's Flipper. This is the dolphin. I just am stupendously amazed at what's out there. This is an awesome mosaic that Jim did of the solar system. Yeah, yeah. You can see some of the prominence. So here's imaging doesn't mean that you need telescopes or binoculars. You want to talk about this one? Go ahead and hit escape.
It's black. So I have a Canon T4i with kit lenses and some other lenses, but this was taken with a kit lens. This is one of those events when I'm walking around the neighborhood. This was 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And I just happened to look up through a pine tree and there was the crescent moon. I'm on the east side of the airport, so I have a number of photos where a 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, 11 moon is sitting there and a plane comes across it. Yet to catch one on the moon, but I did catch one recent, well, I guess October of last year. I caught a FedEx plane rolling right below it. So there's a lot of stuff you can do just with a DSLR, tons of stuff.
Thank you, John. Okay, go ahead and restart our slideshow. That's the FedEx plane.
Hey, Robert, this is Zach. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, can you, Bill, can you switch the output to the monitor that's going to the projector? We're seeing the preview slides on the Zoom meeting.
Guys haven't seen any of the images?
We've seen them, but we're seeing the other monitor. We need to, we want to,
Okay,
we need
I
to,
got you.
yeah.
So Patrick is here. If anybody has questions about the images that we're presenting for him. You just go to on Zoom. When you share, you should be able to select your monitor.
Like,
So start the presentation and then share the screen that has the presentation on it.
presentation. Okay, that's fine. Oh, never mind. I see what you're saying. Never mind. Okay, I need it. That top one, top left. Is that the one? Oh, listen, did I close? You closed PowerPoint. I'm sorry. Let's see, is that it? No. Is this it? That's it. So,
Scroll down.
how far down?
Probably about at least 20, 25. Right there. I think that's it. No, that's down. Two more.
Okay. See, I can't get to the Zoom now.
You use Alt Tab.
Anyway, while this is going on, any questions for Patrick? Just raise your hand.
I'm not even on the screen now. I don't even have my cursor.
I don't even have my cursor. There it goes. I don't get the lower bar, so I can go to Zoom.
Yeah, but then they said they're just getting the preview mirror. Can't we just show it the regular mode? This auto mode is not working at all. We just click through and just click through. It's not even speed.
think I got myself all messed up. Now I don't even know where the.
So instead of sharing an application, you should be able to share a monitor. That's one of the other options, or a screen. Just share the other screen.
Oh, I could have brought another
Monitor up here.
Yeah, okay.
Tell you what, for right now, let's just do this. This is big enough, isn't it? Okay, can we go with this? Can we go with this?
If you're asking me, I mean, it's up to Robert. I don't.
You guys, hey, you presenters, is this okay?
Whatever works for you.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say this: it looks better when you're in present, even in the preview mode, because you don't have all those grid lines. So I'd rather just do it the way it was if you can't figure it out.
Sounds good.
And Patrick is our outreach coordinator. So how he finds time to do this with all the star parties he's organizing it's quite amazing. Richard Hoffman is another guy that does really interesting work, and he's helped me out, particularly with, of all things, filters. And this is just one image we took during one of the star parties in July. Now, what's going to happen next? My son and my money go to Texas A&M. And Zach Smith also is a graduate of Texas A&M, so you knew this was coming. My favorite star. This is us 12 years ago giving a presentation about newbies to astronomy right here. No, the music went away. I don't know what happened. Try hitting the right arrow. So here's what got me started in imaging. One of the things that I call my big tube around. And this is an image that Jake took about 12 years ago, and he said, you can't do any better. So this is my front yard astronomy, and here's Ursa Major, Bear the dog. So all these images were taken from my Bortle nuclear zone in front of my home. This is Caroline's Rose. Andromeda. No, it's not. I'm sorry, it's a rock. Not with it right now. So Bode's and Star. I don't know if it's Bode's or both. I honestly don't know. This is M15. It's my first attempt with narrowband. Or, I'm sorry, Malot 15. It's in the heart. Nebula. And I think this is the best image I've taken so far. That's the bubble. You can barely see it. Now, I have a very small sensor, the ASI 120, non-cooled. And then we have Zach. And Zach, you use mostly digital cameras, right?
Yeah, these were so the Andromeda was with a 60D unmodified, and then the Veil Nebula there was taken with a modified Canon T2i, and the Pleiades one as well. In fact, the Veil and the Pleiades were captured on both on the same night, actually.
I want to thank all these folks here for contributing photographs to our little presentation today. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience imaging. Be upfront and honest, it's not cheap to get started. And my wife Sally said, you know, your hobbies are expensive, but you know what? You're out from underfoot. Have at it. So when you get that kind of support, how can you lose? So there's the thing about imaging is the most important thing you need to image is something, it's kind of acquired, and the older you get, the less you have of it. It's called patience. Because there are a lot of things that can go wrong. It's really process oriented. But when it works, it's awesome. So I chose to go the monochrome route. A lot of people, when they start imaging, they prefer to use their digital cameras because you can mount that onto your scope, and there are all kinds of tools that will allow you to use your digital camera, or commonly referred to as one-shot color. But I knew that I was going to go monochrome route, and I really didn't want to learn two processes to get to one. So I chose the monochrome route. I am using as my main a ZWO ASI 120 mm sensor. It's very small. And but I get good images. And when you're using lesser equipment, your processes have to be better. So right now it's working for me. And the other thing, I'm a techno guy. So, you know, when I was using the big scope, you know, I have Stellarium and I run my mount off of it and all that kind of jazz on a laptop. This big laptop that eats up battery like going out of style. So I was looking for something that would allow me to do what I want to do, to image, without having to have a laptop. And so I have a ZWO ASI Air Pro. It's an all-in-one. It manages everything. It's $260. So it's a great tool. I can set up my sequences and all that stuff. I can do it off my phone if I were 18 and had good eyesight, or off my Android device. I have a Lenovo tablet for it, so I can do everything. I need to do with it. It's pretty simple. And the one drawback to the ASI is ZWO is it only handles products by ZWO. So I'm sure eventually I'm going to wind up using NINA or some other sequencer because ZWO doesn't make an auto rotator and I need one. So as soon as I get one, I'm going to have to switch. It's not hard. There's a lot of really good stuff on the web to help you get going. There's also a lot of crap. So, but most importantly, there are a lot of really good people in our own club. We are here to help anybody do anything in astronomy, whether it's visual for our new person here or imaging. It's been phenomenal. The questions, the silly questions I've often asked and get right answers or answers that help me get where I need to go. So for me, it's a way for me to use science and STEM that I learned through the years in university and a way to get out from underfoot. And it allows me to be a little bit artistic. So that's my newbie experience for whatever it's worth. Yes, sir. Yes. Well, it depends. It depends on the filters.
Do you want to
The
repeat, Joe?
question is, because of my Bortle nuclear site, how do I determine my exposures and how do I avoid overexposing? Well, it depends on the filter set. There's narrow band and LRGB filters. So narrow band filters aren't affected by nuclear Bortle. The LRGB are. So typically I don't take it's if I think about that lamp that's right, at about my 11 o'clock, I treat that as though it were the moon. So I don't image over there anyway. And because I've got Bortle tree right there, that's just not a zone. I have an area that's pretty much, maybe 25 degrees wide that I can image from. So, but I think all of the tools that allow you to image give you an opportunity to preview. So you can get an idea of, am I close? Am I underexposed? Am I overexposed? And then you can figure out what your exposure rates and set your sequencing and plans up. Some of them, actually, the longest exposure I've taken was Malot 15 with the narrow band, and that was, I think, 180 seconds. That might have been 300. Anyway, it's either 180 or 300 seconds. Typically, it's between 30 and 60 seconds, but you're also collecting lots of images. Okay, so we do this thing called stacking. So we're collecting data to reduce signal to noise ratio. Jim.
I was going to say, as far as exposure, like the Dolphin Nebula that I had, those were 10-minute exposures. So, those were 10-minute exposures. So you obviously have to have extremely good guiding or you're going to get star trails. But those are also taken with very narrow band filters. It was hydrogen and oxygen filters, 3 nanometers, which let just minuscule light through. Pretty much it. Yeah. You can get a little light pollution you have to remove on the narrow band, but not near as much as if you use a luminance or a RGB filter. But you can get some nice exposures if you have good guiding.
And that P word, patience. So since I've been started, I've taken thousands of lights, and it's just a learning. And it's different. If in the Bortle nuclear zone, how you plan to do things is different than when you go out to star or a dark site, because you have less things to think about, but you have different things. Like at star, you have to worry about, believe it or not, on one side, there's almost zero horizon, but on the north side, you got a bunch of trees. So, the moon is, yeah, it's on. Oh, there we go. So the moon at my house is bright, but it's a heck of a lot brighter at star. So, and that does affect things. Tools that I use, and I think a lot of us use, we use Telescopius is a great tool. It's whether you're imaging or not, it is an online tool that's free that you can query what's out in the sky, and you can say, today between 6 and 8 and more than 30 degrees away from the moon, and it's going to be visible for at least 45 minutes. Great tool. So that's a tool that can help you plan your visual as well as imaging. And the other part for imaging, it allows you to have an idea of what your field of view is going to be, and it calculates rotation angles for you. So there are a lot of good tools. AstroBin is another tool where a lot of us store our images. And there's quite a bit of good information there. So, and I apologize for not having a slide deck for this evening. I have one in progress, and as soon as it's done, I'll email it out. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert, very much. And it's always amazing to me. All of those images were from people who are in our club. We have some very talented astronomers and astrophotographers in our club. And as Robert said, anybody who has any questions, they're always willing to help and share and help you learn. Okay, getting refocused here. If anybody wants, is anybody going to join in the raffle tonight? If you are, go ahead and get your tickets now. Just go ahead and do that as we're talking. One thing I did want to start everybody thinking about, this is January, and way off in the future in June, we're going to have the elections for the next year's board. And I know we have a lot of new members, so I thought it was a good idea for you to understand how the club is run. I don't think I really understood it for a couple of years after I joined, but the club and the decisions it makes, it's not one person making the decision. We have a board, and that board is the president, the vice president, currently Robert Circus. We have a treasurer, John Geromini, secretary, Zach Smith on Zoom. And then we have 4 director positions, and those we usually refer to as our general board members. Right now we have Tom Roth, Cy Simonson, Phil Stage, and John Baker. Those are our general board members. Each of us has different responsibilities, and each of us serves for different terms. The officers, president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, those positions are actually elected for 1 year, okay? So even if you're elected, you don't have to suffer for more than 1 year if you really can't stand it. We're actually only allowed to serve for 2 years max. The exception is the position of treasurer, which can function for 5 years consecutively, okay? So this is actually my 2nd year of being president, so we will need someone else to step up for the president's position for the next year. So keep that in the back of your mind. One of the things, for those of you who've been in the club for a while, you've seen all different styles of people who have led this club. You have people who do PowerPoint presentations and those who don't. I have chosen not to do the PowerPoint presentations for the general meeting. And there was a reason for that. I wanted people to understand they didn't have to know PowerPoint to do this. It's really just a matter of being willing to serve and lead and just sort of help organize. You don't have to make all the decisions because you've got an entire board that meets and comes to a decision. So there's always help along those lines. Your general board's positions, your 4 general board members, those positions are actually 2-year positions. And they alternate. Every year we vote two of them leave because they've served their 2 years, and we vote in 2 more. And they will serve for the next 2 years along with the others who are serving out their last year. So that rotates. It is always a good thing, in my opinion, to have new members join in those positions because everybody has different opinions. Everybody has different ways of looking at things. Everybody has different talents, whether it's in the fields that you've chosen for your profession that can help us, or just a talent that you have. You're good with technology or you're good with something else. So it's always good to have new people come in and take those positions. And that's one of the reasons you don't have a president who's around for 10 years doing the same thing over and over again. It brings new ideas and new vision to the club. The major requirement for any of those positions is that you have been a member of the club for 1 year before the nominations in June. So if you joined in May of 2021, you would be eligible for one of those board positions. And if the club is something that you've enjoyed, if it's something that you've learned from, whether it's from a social standpoint, or you've learned more astronomy, or you're gaining more knowledge, think about taking on one of those positions because it does act as service to the club. And again, it's not forever. It's just for a short while if you want to take on that position, and you're not doing it alone, you're doing it with help, okay? So you're not out there alone. I just wanted everybody to start thinking about that. And if you have any questions on what the different positions entail, then one of us would be more than happy to answer those questions. It's always fluid because it used to be back in the day that you had both the secretary and the treasurer. That was one person filling both of those positions. And it got to a point where we had to split them. And so that has helped tremendously, making sure those positions are separated. So yeah, anytime we recognize that something needs to change, we can do that. I think I spoke earlier about the focus on Palo Pinto, and we talked about the meeting on Saturday. So again, if you're available Saturday for that meeting out at Palo Pinto Mountains, that is definitely one of the areas we'll be focusing most of our energy so that we can help them to develop a good astronomy area where we can do outreach. And then as it grows, we can hopefully go into further development of that land with them. I know Mark Smith could probably speak more eloquently to it, but this is a long-term project as far as building a relationship with the park, developing an astronomy site in different phases that will serve us and serve the public. I know one of the items people have asked about is club equipment use, and we are almost there as far as having a couple of scopes to loan out to club members. We were talking about it at the board meeting, and the board decided that we needed just a little bit more documentation out there before we started this program. So fingers crossed. I know we've got a document circulating. Hopefully we will have that settled before the next meeting, and hopefully then we can get that going. So we really are almost there. Generally, it will be, a scope available for a deposit. And then we'll just save a small portion of that deposit for maintenance fee. It will be, all of those transactions will be at a club meeting. And the reservations for those scopes will have to be made before the meeting, because we don't want anybody to drag out a scope every meeting just for no reason. As long as we know somebody's going to be picking one up or dropping one off, we'll do that. Okay. Again, there's going to be a document circulated around on the Egroup with all of those details. Don, you ready? Okay.
So currently, these numbers right here are the latest and greatest numbers. I just got finished doing analysis of 2021, and it's ready to be. Were you going to ask about that? Somebody helping to do the financial. We do a financial review once a year, usually January, February timeframe, to verify that the numbers I show you every month are close. And we have it's usually 3 members, a treasurer, a board member, and a non-board member. So if anybody is willing to donate about 2 hours of time to that, I would appreciate it. Robin, did you say you wanted to do that? I wish you could write it in the notes. Thank you. We'll agree to do it. The 3 of us will agree to do it at some time. Okay, thank you, Mark. We had you can tell up there was a donation. Patrick did an outreach for, I guess it was just his family. And they graciously donated $100 to us. So we appreciated that. And they were sent a thank you note. The next big expenditure coming up is for the insurance. It's about $1,600 plus or minus. It's going to be different, but what do we know? Currently, we have 173 members, which, can you crank that up some, please? Where the graph is, thank you. So over the last 4 years or so, where that line crossed 180 there, that's the most I've ever seen here. Now, somebody told me in the past they had over 200 members. That's the closest we've been. Last year, in 2021, we had 67 new member requests, of which 52 people actually paid. So we have this ongoing thing where people are interested in joining, but they don't. So 52 new members. The year before that, when we started doing online registration, we had 54 members request new membership and only 47 signed up. So we are doing fairly well for having COVID running rampant through our community. And I think that's Cy, I needed to ask if you talked to Sean, because I looked at PayPal today and it appeared to be working.
Yeah, I did not, but I saw your message that was working. So maybe we just looked into it, but I still got to get hold of him in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And any questions for the treasurer? online? Nobody? All right, thank you.
And last year I sat in on the audit that they did last February, I guess it was. And John is so organized that he made it so easy to get through and verify stuff. So it's quite a bit of material, but it's very, very organized. Thanks to John, at least. And then we did want to take, at the board meeting last week, we did talk about a spring picnic. We're looking at the possibility of doing something in April. And at the moment, we're looking about Mineral Wells State Park. Zach is going to be checking into that because they do have a group picnic area. And we are hopefully going to be able to make arrangements for staying there overnight. Not necessarily camping unless you want to, but at least give us some viewing time. So that is in the works. I will be checking in with 3RF to see what their plans are for the coming year. It's been constantly shifting over the past year because of problems from the freeze, and then they're dealing with COVID and everything else. So we're going to try to see if we can get something scheduled for late spring, early summer. If it's put off or we're not able to go that particular weekend, we can always schedule a makeup later on in the year. Hopefully we can get in before the fires start across the nation, and then we won't have that problem. One of the other things the board is looking at is additional areas to do outreach, like the Tandy Hills Star Party that we have. So we've got a couple of sites that we're looking at, and if you can think of a site that you think might be a good gathering place for something like that, let us know and we'll go scout it out. And we'll probably do some, when we start back in our star parties in March, start doing some experimentation in some of these other areas and see how it goes. Try those for a couple of times and hopefully get some traction there and get an expanded view of people that way. Were there any questions, or is there anything from one of the board members that I have forgotten or they wanted to bring up?
One of the things that we're looking at to do this spring is a Messier party. I'll be sending out an email to the main group with some thoughts and ideas and some dates that we think might work. It's something I've always wanted to do. We used to do way back when out at Thompson, but we haven't lately, and I like to try and do that. So look for that email. Next month, the next meeting, the presentation is going to be show and see. It was going to be about the 3 key sites that we use, STAR, Palo, Pinto, and LBJ. So clearly STAR is out of the picture, but we're still doing the presentation, and there's another area that maybe it's public land. So I'm going to go have a look at it and see if that might work for us. So, and as always, if you have any ideas for what you'd like to be presentations you'd like to see, let me know. It's your club, and again, thanks for being here.
Any of the other board members on Zoom or here in person have anything else they want to bring up? Give you a chance to unmute yourselves. Let's go ahead and do the raffle, and then we'll open it up to general comments. Let's see. Hopefully we've got enough tickets that I don't have to go through too many of these. Okay. The last 4 digits are 9922. Okay. You get to come choose. We've got a book, Patrick Moore on Mars. We've got a Next Star controller. We've got a star chart. We've got a filter wheel. We've got all sorts of goodies up here. Four numbers, the last four numbers are 9915. Oh, okay. Okay, last four numbers, 9905. 9905. Oh, newbie here. Okay. Okay, last four numbers, 9925. Find somebody else. Okay. If we draw it again, she won't have it. So we'll. All right, last four numbers, 9909. Got that filter wheel. That's a good thing to have. Yeah. We have Barlow, and then we just have a transformer plug here. Oh, wait, is this Celestron Barlow? Yeah. All right. Oh, and the Celestron next star. Okay, last four numbers on this ticket are 9924. Well, 9923. Check them out, Phil. Okay. 9931. 31. Oh, okay, good. Are you also 9930? Okay.
Someone else wants those.
Okay. 9918. Nine 9910. Okay. 9904. Okay. 9908, probably a repeat. Okay. 9900. Ah, okay. Running the raffle tickets is probably the hardest thing to do in my position, I tell you. You've got a Celestron next star and a transformer. Okay. 9901. 01. Can you use the next star? Oh. Want to sell it?
Yeah, there you go.
9907. 9899. Oh. 9917. 9912. Okay, we may just hold on to this and see if we want to put it up for somebody in the club to buy. Okay. Anybody that bought a raffle ticket that would want it? Okay, we will put it up for sale then. Anybody have any other questions or anything like that? Bill, have you put up our slide? We actually have a slide. It's for the World of Beers to just sort of give you the address if you want something visual to look at. No, there we go. Brandon Hamill puts this slide together and it's like, twinkle, twinkle, little star, point me in the direction of the nearest bar. So it really is great if you want to just take a few minutes and spend some time visiting after the meeting. It's always fun. And unless anybody else has anything else to share. Oh, hold on. Oh, here, sure. Let you talk. Hold on. Everybody who's here needs to hear what Shelley has to say. This is Shelley Garland.
Hi, I'm still trying to clear out my garage and my attic. I have lenses. I have whatever, I don't know. Come and see me. If you want something like this, let me know. I have 5 of these, 2 with me and 3 more at home.
Okay, so Shelley's got those here and hopefully somebody can tell us what that is, because I have no idea. One of these. We'll figure it out. And she's got several of them. So if you want to give it a shot, you got it. Okay, everybody, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us on Zoom and enjoy your evening. Thanks.